the FBI bombshell why the unranked Arizona Wildcats are still trying to find themselves. Are you really buying the hype Arizona football can win the Pac-12 South? And do you now admit the fear of a migrant invasion was a racist and ridiculous distraction? The 520 starts now. And welcome to the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Mitchell Weary.
Live from Tombstone.
Live from Tombstone.
You shaved off the beard and you're looking like Wyatt Earp.
You know, I just wanted to be your Huckleberry, Steve. You know, last week you said something.
Man, touch my scar first.
Last week you said that I looked like Burt Reynolds, so I just wanted to bring my A game this week. Right there for everyone.
Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am, sir.
Are you ready for this A game?
Let's make it happen.
All right. Is Arizona's cloud of distraction over the FBI's trial into college basketball corruption having the same effect, I know I'm reaching on this one, on players as, get this, ASU's curtain of distraction? Well, Arizona showed signs of struggle against Houston Baptist, a team that won't win too many games this year. The Cats cleared some of their fogginess and seemed to shake off the Kings in the second half to win by 30 points, 90-60, a blowout, but still an ugly win. FBI distraction, or do we just have to come to the reality that Arizona is just not going to be that good this year?
First of all, I don't want to lend any credence to that curtain up at ASU, first of all. It's more of a veil than anything.
I just thought that would be fun.
But you know what? I've been saying since I came on the show, Steve, that Sean Miller, despite everything off the court and as difficult as it might be right now, needs to stay focused and needs to keep his team focused. And we saw last night that this is a team that is going to struggle to find its identity. Here's where we're going to
disagree again, and I can't stress this enough. Sean Miller cannot stay focused. The players cannot stay focused. The Arizona Board of Regents last Thursday did not give him a free pass to say, hey, your job is secure. What they actually said was, hey, Dr. Robert Robbins, I want you to aggressively investigate Sean Miller and what came out in the FBI trial. Phone records of conversations between possibly Miller and a convicted sports agent.
And that's fine, but if you're talking about trying to have as constructive of a season as possible, you need to ignore this. You need to work with this team of young players, a lot of new guys coming in, trying to develop a new identity.
You saw their play last night.
You know what? They looked great on the defensive end of the ball. I will lend them that. They had a sloppy first half, 11 turnovers, I think. They shot poorly from the field. And you saw them correct that in the second half a bit against, albeit, a mid-major who's really probably not going to do much.
Look, I'm the biggest Arizona basketball fan ever. My lucky scarf is right next to me all the time. But I will say this, it looks like this team may not have a first-team all-conference player for the first time since 1982. Let that sink in for a moment. All right?
All right.
Moving on to football.
Moving on.
We declared season over just a couple of weeks ago, but now, do the Arizona Wildcats really have a legit chance to win the Pac-12 South? Well, Arizona put it all together against Colorado. Khalil Tate passed for a career-high 350 yards and 5 touchdowns. J.J. Taylor carried the Wildcats to 206 yards on the ground, and Arizona's defense held the Buffs to 40 yards rushing, the second straight week holding an opponent to under 100 yards on the ground. The Wildcats at 4-3 are in a 3-way tie for first with Utah and USC, 2 teams they lost to, so time for the top spot does not favor Arizona. Do they really have a path to win the Pac-12 South?
There's a lot that needs to happen, and I think there's potential if they keep playing at the caliber that they are, but I don't think they're going to. I think that they have I think they do have a strong chance of putting up a fight against Washington State on the road after this late bye. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of other things need to happen in the conference for them to clinch that title. And frankly, I'm just happy with the bowl game at this point.
Here's what I'm going to say. For Arizona to get to that path, USC must lose to Cal or UCLA. Utah must lose to Oregon or Colorado. But still, if Arizona wants to put its own destiny in its own hands, Arizona has to beat Washington State and ASU straight up. And we have a chance against Washington State. Top 10 team, but remember what happened last year. They were ranked 15th, and Khalil Tate dropped 158 rushing yards on them and threw for another 275 yards. combined 3 touchdowns.
And it's impossible to doubt the U of A Wildcats when Khalil Tate and J.J. Wright are playing to the level that they're playing at. They are both so much fun to watch right now, and they are going to compete when they go up to Washington State.
3 keys for Arizona to win the Pac-12 South. Passing efficiency. Khalil Tate right now is at 65.5% since he came back from his ankle injury. J.J. Taylor already rushed for 1,221 yards on the season. He needs another 200-yard game against Washington State and ASU, and our defense needs to stop the opponent on third down. Right now, we're at 29% the last 2 games on third down, 43% the rest of the season prior to that.
Secondary needs to step up. Steve Montez was the only saving grace for Colorado in that game.
All right, you ready for rapid fire?
Let's bring it.
Let's do this. Time now, rapid fire. I fire off a topic with a local sports connection. Mitchell fires back a rapid response. So should ex-Wildcat and Phoenix Suns rookie DeAndre Ayton, who's already one of the top NBA post scorers, averaging about 6 points per game on post plays, become more of a selfish player?
He's so dominant, so physical. I can't see how it would hurt the Phoenix Suns to implement a system, try working the ball through him more.
I agree with you. I think they need to pass the ball to him and let him do his magic. He's shooting like 60% from the field.
They have a decent enough team to where, the 3-point shooters are there. He can dish it out there and be effective that way too.
Can ex-Wildcat and New York Knicks Alonzo Trier, who is averaging 15.8 points per game and shooting 60% from the field, join Ayton on the NBA's all-rookie team?
I hope he maintains this level of play. He has just been so fun to watch. Even after last week, we spoke about him briefly. But yes, keep it up, Alonzo.
Yeah. Are you surprised to learn new Toronto Blue Jays manager Charlie Montoyo and his family live in Sahuarita? It took him 18 years, but he finally made it to the big leagues as a manager.
It's a great story, and I'm not surprised. Real rich history of baseball in this community, all the way from the high school level on up. And
of course, we have Frank Kona, who lives in Tucson, but that's a reason to bring spring training back to Tucson.
I agree.
Bottom line.
Kills me.
Well, in only its second season, the Rising have advanced to the United Soccer League's championship game against Louisville City on Thursday. What does this say about the rise in soccer in Arizona?
I wish we were talking about the Suns winning, but I love this. I'm a big soccer fan, and I really think that this is the first few important steps to building an MLS club in our state, which I think we deserve and I think would do very well.
And the players that this state is producing is ridiculous.
A lot of talent in this. A lot of talent in the state.
All right, more soccer. Arizona women's soccer is hosting Denver in the first round of the NCAA tournament. How far can this year's team go?
I think they can go deep. 5 out of 6 years they've made the tournament, and their coach has just done a really nice job. And they beat Denver 2 years ago, 3-0, shut them out. I think they can make it happen.
And they play here at Keno Stadium, first round. I went to the first home game this year. 1,000 fans in the stands. That's impressive.
I love to see the support for the soccer program. Wonderful programming.
Love it. All right, we're going to switch to politics now. Are you surprised Maricopa, Crooked County experienced more Election Day technical glitches, including a polling site in Chandler that was foreclosed on overnight? Maricopa election officials say the building was up and running at 7, a full hour after the polls opened. 2 other polling sites experienced technical glitches and were late to open up. Do you really think we are that stupid to buy this BS?
I'm not, and it makes me sad and so frustrated.
But they think we're that stupid.
They do, and it's insulting. It shouldn't be this difficult to vote in any state in our country. And I love the report that the Arizona Republic put out recently. It's talking about the analysis of the last 5 election cycles from the county recorder's office. And what is typically considered a conservative publication has reported that this purge has really disproportionately affected low-income families.
Absolutely. And you're looking at Maricopa County as a whole, over 600,000 ballots remained uncounted as of Wednesday. Okay? So Maricopa County was reporting about 472 uncounted ballots, and the majority were delivered on Election Day. So what does that say, though, about what happened in Maricopa County in the primary in 2016 when people stood in line for 5 hours to vote, and just this last primary and now the midterms? There's no coincidence here.
No, they're doing anything and everything that they possibly can. You should just be able to vote with your social security number, your zip code, and a PIN number. With the way technology is, it's ridiculous that it is this complicated, and the only reason it is to keep people from voting.
And once again, we're talking about Maricopa County. Voter suppression is happening there. I give them no
And it's
excuse.
happening everywhere. It's insulting.
All right. Let's jump right into Do We Care? As you know, we also tackle community issues. Last week, we gave our take on how you should vote on numerous propositions. This week, we'll grade how well you listened. All right, voters passed Prop 125, 52 to 48%. This will allow the state to adjust certain benefits in the corrections officers and elected officials' retirement systems to alleviate pension underfunding.
I voted yes. I was glad to see that this passed. It's going to save the state a lot of money, and the old system wasn't sustainable, so it's a much better improvement.
I also voted yes, and I'm glad that the voters basically passed this, because you know what this really does, though? This keeps the state government out of this pension fund, their hands out of this pension fund, so that they can continue to move money, the shell game. More importantly, in my opinion, it keeps them from funneling some of this money to what we all know they do a lot. Private prisons. Yeah. All right, by nearly a 2-to-1 margin, voters overwhelmingly passed Prop 126, which prohibits the state and each county, city, town, or district, or other political subdivision in Arizona from imposing new or increased taxes on services.
I was wrong on this one. I voted no. I'm not a huge fan of taxes, but sometimes they are a necessary evil, and I hope that we don't need them in the future now. Because
I only voted no for you.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Because you have a private business, a small business, services, and getting more tax than what you're already having to pay absolutely sucks.
It does. It
Period.
does.
By a big majority, 70 to 30% margin, voters said no to Prop 127, defeating the mandate that would have forced utility companies to get 50% of its energy from renewable resources by 2030.
I believe that it is absolutely vital for us to integrate renewable resources into our current system. However, I didn't like this plan. I voted no on this. I was glad that this worked out the way that it did.
I voted yes, but I still say I was right. And the reason is because the less reliant we become on fossil fuels, the more benefit we're going to have to our environment, which outweighs the cost of rising electric bills. We already know global warming is happening, and every summer what happens? The electricity is turned up, or the AC is turned up, and our electricity bills go up. So what difference does it make?
I think this is a move that Arizona itself needs to take the initiative on. We don't need an outside influence forcing us to do this.
Agreed. Well, a big victory for Red for Ed movement and teachers. Voters said no to Prop 305, which would have increased tax dollars to fund and expand private school vouchers. The measure failed by 500,000 votes.
Thank goodness that this did not pass, and frankly, a wag of the finger to the third of you who voted yes on this. It's ridiculous.
I also voted no, and I agree with you. Shame on everyone who voted yes on this. I just can't fathom the fact that the state would continue to try and take tax dollar money to give to the private sector so that they can spend it however the hell they want.
Arbitrarily just shop that money any way they want.
And take away from our kids, period. To give to 30,000 kids out of 1.1 million K-12 students in this state, we already rank near last. We don't need to fall further down the pipeline.
No,
well,
sir.
Prop 306 passed, prohibiting candidates who finance their political campaigns with public funding from the Citizens Clean Elections Commission from transferring any campaign funds to a political party or private tax-exempt organization.
Oh, I'm so frustrated by this because no one read the back end of the bill, which means that now Governor Doug Ducey is the head of appointing the the council for the Citizens Clean Election Commission. This council is no longer autonomous. It no longer belongs to voters. Shame on everybody for letting this pass.
So much for smaller government. That's what I say. I voted no, and the fact that it passed is BS. Again, we're expanding government. Really?
Right.
Unbelievable. Well, Well, we're going to be quick on this. Voters said yes to Prop 407, which will now use $225 million in bond money to fix up city parks and playgrounds.
I can't wait to play on my new swings and slides, Steve.
I voted no, and you know what? I will say this. If the city is going to take $225 million of our tax dollars, they better fix up and reopen the city pools.
I like that.
Build a splash park.
I like that a lot.
Do something useful.
You see a lot of them just sit empty. It's sad.
It's horrible. Well, voters said no to Prop 408. That means elections for mayor and council will stay the way it is at odd-numbered years.
You know, I said I didn't really care about this, and because I skipped it, I did make it to happy hour on time. So
nice. I said no on this too, and I'm just glad that we maintain local control of our own elections. Forget the state, man. Well, voters shot down Prop 463, Pima County's $430 million bond proposal to fix our roads. The measure fell by about 40,000 votes.
As it should have. Start using that money that has already been allocated for our roads properly.
I said no because I don't trust Pima County with $430 million to fix up our roads that they have no plan for. All right? So we went over time.
Yes, we do.
But that was good. Way worth it. All right. Now that the election is over and we haven't heard a peep about the dangerous caravan of migrants, thugs, and murderers and terrorists making their way to the border, will you admit President Trump's deployment of troops was nothing more than a racist distraction? Well, the soldiers arrived just in time to promote Election Day propaganda. The troops then began fortifying the Nogales port of entry, installing barbed wire along the border wall in a show of defense to keep asylum seekers from jumping over and sneaking past a line of border agents.
These people are
unbelievable.
These people are attempting to escape violence, and the implication that they are violent people is just ridiculous, and it's frustrating and infuriating to even see the president encourage these troops that are down there, and who knows how many militiamen are down there now too, to shoot back at people, throwing rocks. It's a war crime.
That went to the border in response to the president when he said, hey, a rock is just as good as a gun, shoot.
I mean, apparently
all of a sudden, militias start showing up to the border to think that it's open season to kill innocent people, especially children.
Apparently our president's never heard of the Geneva Convention. It's outlandish. And again, I think we've covered this before, but you need to grant these people amnesty. They are coming here for help, and it's only 7,000 people. It really is not that large a group of people. It's
not even that many, and I'm not sure that, look, I'm not for open borders, but I understand why people are coming, and I just think you got to have a humane solution to it. But here's what strikes me about this entire propaganda of calling these people murderers and thugs. The Pentagon is no longer using the name for the deployment, which was called Operation Faithful Patriot. As of yesterday, they changed the name just to Border Support.
How about in sending all those troops down, you send down as many lawyers and work on processing all the paperwork for those people. Get it done.
I agree. Keep them from waiting at the border. Do something. All right. Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. I'll get started. A cheerleader for the San Francisco 49ers kneeled during the National Anthem during last week's home game against the Oakland Raiders. NBC Bay Area reporter Damian Trujillo snapped this photo of the kneeling cheerleader. The protest, an apparent mirror of the protest movement begun by 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick in 2016, started kneeling during the national anthem to draw attention to racism and police brutality against minorities. Well, the cheerleader, who the 49ers would not identify, is believed to be the first cheerleader to take a knee during the national anthem. There's no word if she was fired. On the college level, 4 cheerleaders for Kennesaw State University in Georgia were kicked off the cheer squad after taking a knee last year. Compare that to Kaepernick. He hasn't played in the NFL for 2 years and is now suing the league for collusion and keeping him from playing again. But according to witnesses, no one noticed or reacted to the unidentified 49er cheerleader who knelt during the anthem. Why is that? Is that a sign of just how sexist we become? Trump her up so the beautiful dancing star on the sideline is so we can excuse ourselves to ignore her as a voice of reason and substance? She clearly wanted to reignite the debate on racial inequality. And by ignoring her, is that a sign of just how racist we become? Because to pretend she doesn't exist is to erase her experience. And by professing not to see her race is in itself ignoring racism and not solving it. We, as America, missed another opportunity to hear from this brave cheerleader and establish a dialogue of new understanding. Sadly.
And Jim Acosta, chief White House correspondent for CNN, had his press credentials revoked yesterday after what is being described as a contentious exchange with President Donald Trump. The two began sparring after Acosta asked Trump about the caravan of migrants headed toward the southern border from Latin America. When he tried to follow up his question, the president said that's enough, as a female White House aide tried to grab his microphone. The controversy was exacerbated by a statement from Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, and a video of the incident that appears to be doctored was released shortly after. This is a really sad case of the hypocrisy that the Trump administration is guilty of. 5 minutes before, if you were watching this press conference, he touted how much of an advocate he is for free speech. And then when Acosta, who under his First Amendment right questions him about an important issue, he acts in a puerile manner and ignores the question and becomes confrontational. Frankly, President Trump, you have an obligation to be accountable to the American public. And if you can't answer these questions, I can't wait to vote someone else in 2 years from now who can.
Sadly, that show and condemnation of a journalist shows that the pen is mightier than the gun. And sadly, my heart, and I know I speak for all Americans, our hearts collectively go out to the people in California, all 12 who were killed.
It was really unfortunate to read about that.
Maybe I should just say this. All 11 innocent victims who were killed, including a sheriff's deputy. I don't care about the gunman. I don't.
Either.
So
I think putting those people in the
I just have
National
no
spotlight.
words that nothing is being done to solve putting guns in the hands of people who should not have guns, whether they're mentally ill or not. The bottom line is you can attack a journalist, but you can't attack the gun issue.
It's a sad
where people are getting killed. The second mass shooting in 2 weeks.
It's a sad state of hypocrisy, and I, like you, really don't have an answer for it. I will say that hopefully we continue to elect progressive politicians into office over the course of the next few years who can help us fix the problem.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's The 520. Our goal is to tell it like it is because it's all about giving voice to opinions, whether you agree or not. Now, be sure to follow The 520 on Facebook and Twitter at the520.com. And if you have a topic you want us to cover, send us an email at the520@kvoa.com. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Mitchell Weary, your Huckleberry.
Go Wildcats, baby, yeah. Woo!